On VJ Day 1945, Flight Lieutenant Bill Williams was stationed at RAF Mingaladon in Burma, flying photographic reconnaissance Spitfire Mark 19s with the RAF 681 Squadron. In this clip from an upcoming documentary by the Spitfire AA810 team, behind the planned National Photographic Reconnaissance Unit monument, Bill is interviewed by Tony Hoskins and Bill's daughter Wendy about what happened when the fighting stopped.
Did it get to a point on the run-up to VJ Day where, was there any comms like the Americans are going, don't go anywhere over there, we're going to do this, etc., etc.? Or
No.
did it, no, nothing at all? It just carried on until what, somebody...
No, we had no pre-warning of any of that. We were told when, after the bomb had been dropped at Hiroshima, your mum knew, would have known far before I did, because your mum was in the Navy listening station at Flower Down. She was a wireless op, and she listened to she was listening to Japanese stations, and she heard Hiroshima go off the air and Nagasaki.
Oh, really?
When the bombs went.
When the bomb went, yeah.
Because the transmissions from both those places just stopped dead in the middle of they all coming out in five numeral codes, 5 blocks, and they just stopped dead. Something had happened,
So you guys got a telegram, I guess, to say, or communicate to say, this has happened.
Yeah.
And then obviously a few days later they dropped the next one.
Yeah.
How did that news come through to you when Japan surrendered?
It came through on telegram, usual sort of via the telegram,
What did that mean to you? Because you obviously realised at that point the war is over, that's it. Or did you think there were going to be resistance cells that were going to keep
our
fighting?
view was rather sort of, nice for them, isn't it? They're packing in. We're still at it with the Japs, because there was no sign until the bombs were dropped that the Japs had any intention whatsoever of giving up.
How did you feel when the Japs did give up? What was the reaction on the base when the Japanese did surrender?
I think there were 1 or 2 people who sort of had big sighs of relief, but I think most of us sort of, what the hell do we do now?
I can imagine, because I hate
what do
to
we
say
do now?
There's a couple of guys
We
who...
had a lifetime, virtually.
Yeah, because if you joined up at effectively 19, you'd have been, what, 25, 26 when it finished?
26, yes. And that's those sort of 5-6 years were sort of, it's difficult to explain. They were sort of double the average 5 and 6 years. They were like 12 years, because so much happened. So much incident, so many things you did which you never thought you would ever be involved in or do, and to have it suddenly stop. And suddenly, God, I've got to get a job. What do I do now?
It's mad. I get it. I totally get it. Because, it's your formative years. So you've gone in as a 19-year-old, as you say, a bit wet behind the ears, not having had a drink even or anything like that. And then you're faced with that, and then you're coming home, I guess, to a very different person, to a very different England.
That's right.
So what did you say, right? Because I know that there was a few guys in 684 that died bringing aeroplanes back from the Far East. Because it seems from looking at the records, it seems to take about a year to bring most people back. A lot of people seem to have stayed on till like 46, 47. What happened with you? Did you go demobbing, or how did it work?
It was quite a time actually before people started to go back. In fact, that caused us the infamous strikes. You know about the strikes. We were at Seletar at the time in Singapore, and it was extraordinary. Everyone above or below the rank of corporal went on strike. They just didn't do anything. There were telegrams of livid coming in from headquarters. There was one from England by some saying that all the ringleaders should be shot, which of course is rubbish. Just imagine what would have happened if they had, you know. It was all over in a couple of days. Most impressive thing about that, from my memory, was our CO, Don Pearson, at the time. He took up an 11, and he did one of the. I think he was. I don't know what he was, whether he was furious with the whole thing or that this should have happened on his watch, you know, or whatever. But or whether he didn't try to encourage people, I don't know. But he put on what was the most impressive and suicidal display of flying I've ever seen. He was going down between the huts in the camp, and the huts, single-story bamboo building, about the height of this room, you know, going down below the roof levels, down the street between that. It was suicidal. It really was. But everybody was the same, you know. What the hell should we do now?
Bill Williams passed away shortly before his 104th birthday in April 2025 and was the last known surviving Photographic Reconnaissance Unit veteran. To learn more about the men and women of the PRU, the National Photographic Reconnaissance Unit Monument, and the restoration of Sandy Spitfire, please visit www.spitfireaa810.co.uk.